What if the ice is not just melting, it's literally ejecting lost chapters of human history into our hands? That's the question that haunts the melting alpine patches of northern Canada, and the secrets they're revealing challenge everything we thought we knew about the Ice Age, human evolution, and prehistoric life. Unlike glaciers that creep and grind, crushing artifacts into dust, these patches sit still, silent, and cold. They do not move. They do not erase. Instead, they cradle what was left behind a hunter's dart, a scrap of hide, a feather holding them intact for thousands of years. High in the Canadian parks, these icy vaults remain sealed for millennia, guarding memories of ancient lives. But now, climate change is prying them open. As the patches retreat, the treasures they protected are exposed to air and sun for the first time since the Ice Age. Archaeologists race against time, rushing to rescue moccasins, tools, and fragments of story before they wither into nothing. Each artifact is not just an object, it is a heartbeat from the deep past, slipping through melting ice into our fragile present. Across 43 melting ice patches, archaeologists have recovered more than 200 organic artifacts: wood darkened by age, bone carved into tools, leather hardened by centuries, feathers still delicate to the touch, along with over 1,700 animal remains. Among the finds are fully intact atlatl darts, the spear-throwing technology that came before the bow. Their feather fletching still clings to carved wooden shafts, while bone awls whisper of hands that once stitched hide and sinew with quiet skill. But the most haunting discovery is a moccasin, stitched from leather with sinew threads, resting in the ice for 1,400 to 1,500 years. Believed to be the oldest preserved footwear ever uncovered in Canada, it is more than an artifact. It is a footprint in time, a rare glimpse into the everyday life of people who walked these high, frozen landscapes long before us. For centuries, hunters relied on the atlatl, a simple lever that hurled long darts with deadly force. Ice patch discoveries show its long reign across alpine hunting grounds, a tool passed from hand to hand, generation to generation. But around 1,200 years ago, something shifted. The bow and arrow began to replace the dart. Faster, more precise, easier to carry, the bow rewrote the rules of the hunt. With it came new choices in materials. Birch shafts gave way to spruce. Stone points yielded to antler tips. Hafting methods evolved, reflecting a change not only in technology, but in the culture of survival itself. In these frozen relics, we glimpse a moment when innovation met necessity, when ancient hunters adapted and their world was forever altered. The pattern of artifacts offers a clue. They cluster in alpine zones, far above the valleys where life seemed easier. In the summer months, herds of caribou sought refuge in these heights, fleeing both the heat and the swarms of insects below. Hunters understood this rhythm. By following the animals into the high country, they found natural choke points where prey gathered on ice surfaces for relief. The frozen patches became more than geological features, they were hunting arenas carved by necessity. Every dart, every fragment of hide left behind tells us that these journeys were not for adventure. They were survival strategies, calculated and essential, born from intimate knowledge of animal behavior and the unforgiving Ice Age landscape. Every dart, every moccasin, every frozen artifact connects to larger questions. How did Ice Age people migrate, adapt, and ultimately thrive in some of the harshest environments on Earth? There is mounting evidence that humans endured north of the Arctic Circle, in the windswept lands of Beringia. There, they lived side by side with mammoths and steppe bison, harnessing fire even in glaciated landscapes. These frozen refuges may have been staging grounds where resilience was tested before people pressed farther into the Americas. Today, theories of human arrival in the New World emphasize not just the inland ice-free corridor, but coastal migration routes. New radiocarbon data suggest these pathways may have been viable far earlier than once believed, reshaping timelines of first contact with the continent. And hovering in the background is another tension: the rivalry between Neanderthals and early modern humans. Some researchers argue that clothing itself was the decisive edge. Early Homo sapiens may have crafted fur garments sewn into parka-like forms, wrapping the body against lethal cold. Neanderthals, by contrast, may have relied on looser, cape-like coverings. In an Ice Age world, that difference could mark the line between survival and extinction. From the very beginning, we opened a door with a question: what if the ice is disgorging lost chapters of human history? That thread has only deepened as we journeyed through Yukon's frozen archives, because every moccasin, every dart, every fragile fragment suggests a haunting possibility. How many more still lie entombed, waiting for the ice to loosen its grip? Could a single shoe, stitched by hand over 1,000 years ago, change how we understand survival itself in the Ice Age? Could a dart shaft, hidden for centuries, force us to rethink the pace of technological change? And what if Yukon is only the beginning? Might the Alps, the Siberian tundra, or even the high Himalayas conceal their own ice patch vaults, sealed collections of human effort that no written record has preserved? There is also the question of parallels. How did tools, materials, and strategies evolve across populations separated by vast ice fields and valleys? Were hunters on different continents unknowingly echoing one another, their ingenuity shaped by the same unforgiving cold? These open loops linger like unfinished sentences, because as the ice retreats, it gives, but it also takes. We recover priceless fragments, yet watch entire archives dissolve before we can even glimpse their secrets. What if the ice isn't just melting, but releasing lost chapters of human history? Now we see it's true. A moccasin stitched with sinew over 1,000 years ago, dart shafts carved for alpine hunts, bone tools shaped by hands long gone. Not objects, but echoes of survival, frozen for centuries and returned to us. They remind us that Ice Age life demanded invention clothing for brutal cold, weapons evolving with every hunt, strategies that shaped migrations and set early humans apart from Neanderthals. Yet there's a cruel irony. The same warming that reveals these treasures erases them. Every discovery is fleeting, urgent, precious. Thank you for walking this frozen trail. Prehistoric shadows will keep following every melt line, every whisper from the Ice Age. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and subscribe, because the next glacier may rewrite what it means to be human.